Do you believe in our products, our services? How do you like the compensation, our support plan, so on and so forth? Some people are absolutely just blunt. They're direct with you as a prospect. Mike, I can't see myself doing this at all. Here's a response you might want to share with them. Neither did I until I met Michael Dorsey. When I heard his story, he made me realize that I have the same opportunity as him. And here's another response. I like this one too, because this will, again, open up and lead to more objections. What makes you say that? Why are you saying that you can't be successful? Try and find out the root. What happened? What damaged their beliefs so much that they cannot be successful in an industry that was designed for everybody? But just trying to find out what is the key and why are they hesitating? So something we want to constantly work through when we're working objections.
Well, that's just great information. My dad calls them hang-ups. He calls them barnacles. And really, sometimes it takes time. It's like a fine wine. It takes time. You want to get to the point that you feel comfortable with those individuals. You want to make sure that you're doing the right things, and I think you've just brought up some wonderful points, some great points, and just understand that, again, it goes back to whoever asks the most questions, is in control of the conversation. You're going to be the one that's going to be there where you're at, so you're going to make the most money, and I think that it's vitally important that you understand that. So let me go ahead and turn it back over to Mike.
Another objection we might deal with, and we talked about this earlier, but spending money. And like I mentioned before, it's very important to understand that people have no problem spending money for short-term gains, going out to dinner, so on and so forth. But, when it comes to a long-term gain, sometimes it's hard to see. The $500 investment or whatever your company costs to get involved with, they cannot see the return. Here's the secret. Create value. Create a return. How do you know this is the type of objection you're dealing with? Well, you might hear something along the lines of, how soon will I start making money? And that's a powerful question coming from a prospect. That's a major buying signal. Here's my response. Well, how soon would you like to? Here's another one. I don't know if I have the money, Mike. And I might say, you mean today, this week, or this month? Again, it goes down to the psychological aspect of if their car broke down, if their water heater broke down, we all know they would come up with that money, and obviously they'd spend it to take care of it. So again, turn the cost, no matter what it is, into an investment, and that will relate to most prospects. They can look at an investment. They can look at sometimes a short-term gain. Most companies have game plans where they can help you make money in the first 30 days. And by the way, that's a whole nother training course. But here's what we want to get to. If you are ever in the position of working a prospect, and sometimes we start to feel as if we're losing a prospect, how do we know? How can we tell if we're losing a prospect? Well, here's something you're going to have to look for, and I call them telltale signs that you may be losing a prospect. Write this down. Dead silence after you make a strong statement. I might say to Mike, my prospect, Mike, how soon do you want to start making money? If he pauses a little bit too long, I'm not really sure. Doesn't matter. Any type of negative or poor response. Here's something else. When they repeat words like yeah, or okay, or that sounds too good to be true. When you start hearing these type of telltale signs, you may have lost the prospect. And again, you got to go back to the basics. You can't spend your time working with somebody who's not willing to move. You can't take an elephant and push them up the ladder to success. It's never going to work. You're not going to build a business of waking people up every morning and maintaining their motivation for them to become financially free. So when you start identifying those telltale signs of no interest, well, guess what, folks? You need to just start moving on. Do your best. Give them what I call a stepping stone. If I feel like I'm moving along with the prospect fairly well, but now I feel like I'm losing a prospect, what I might do is interrupt the whole process and say, I'll tell you what, John, go to my website. I want you to check out this flash movie, or go to this particular website and listen to this conference call. Give me a call when you're done. Send me an email when you're ready to talk again. Now, why am I doing this? Because number one, I might be losing the prospect, but guess what? If John calls me back, is he serious about playing? Is he serious about his business? Absolutely. So something to think about. Overall, folks, and closing with objections and just kind of wrapping this up, I want to tell you this. The economy has brought out many new emotions. I mean, the downsizing, the right sizing, we're going to talk more about this, but here's why. Emotion. We talked about it earlier, and alls I know from experience that when you focus on emotion and emotional triggers, you are going to become a better recruiter day in and day out, because people, again, they make decisions based on emotion. We have to focus on that. When you ask questions, when you find out somebody's true passion, their whys, they talk about spending more time with their children. Keep talking about that. We talked about keeping somebody's attention. Keep talking about the time freedom, the financial freedom. But in wrapping up objections, folks, just remember, it's a part of the game. It's something we must all deal with. It's something that is going to help you pay the price to live the promise, and it's all in how you see things. A positive attitude, focusing on personal development, is going to help you work through objections. They're not going to get you down. And here's the best part. The more you focus on the training, the personal development, and applying what Mike and I are teaching you here today, you know what? You're going to start having fun because there's only so many objections out there in the marketplace today, and you become so good at working your system, you know exactly when your prospects start giving you those objections, what to say, and how to deal with them. Mike?
Well, Mike, that's so good because I'll just wrap it up by saying that, whoever you chase will run away, and whoever you run away from will chase you. And so the bottom line is you feel like you're going to lose somebody. Remember, that's why I have that plaque in my office that professionals sort and amateurs convince. I'm not here to convince them. I'm here to talk through it and try to be a professional and give them the best information that I possibly can, but I don't have time to waste with people that are wasting my time. So whoever you run away from is going to chase you, and whoever you chase will run away from you. So just keep that in mind, and what we'll do now is go ahead and move on to the next course.